Hello and welcome to this Business of Data, Women in Data 30-minute LinkedIn Live special. Hello and welcome. My name is Catherine King. I am the Content and Community Manager here within the Business of Data team at Kärhä, and it is lovely to have you joining us today. Now, if you are brand new to our monthly specials, just a few notes to get going. We here at Kärhä love questions, thoughts and comments, so we would love to see those in the comment section as well. Do make sure you share this live stream with your network as well to get as many people watching and engaging as possible. Now, we are coming to you live, so I'm going to apologize now if there's any tech difficulties. I'm really hoping that I'm coming to you live, loud and clear, I should say. Now, joining me today, we have a wonderful panel as always, and we're going to dive into the great topic of AI. So I'm going to introduce them now. Let's bring all the ladies in. Let's do this. So joining me today, I have Amy Gershkoff Bolles, who is the CDO for Bitly. I'm joined by Minna, who's the Data and Analytics Lead for Finnair. Katia Walsh, who's the Chief Strategy and AI Officer from Levis'Store, and Nirali Patel, who's the Director of Data Analytics from Openreach. Ladies, Happy New Year. Lovely to see you all.
Happy New Year.
Awesome. What a great group to have together to kick off our first Women in Data special for 2021. And as we only have 30 minutes, and I'm so conscious of time because I tend to overrun, I am told. Let's get straight into it, shall we? So for those of you who've seen the session description, it is all about AI today. So let's start off with maturity. Now, I am guilty of using use cases. I like the phrase, I use it quite a bit. But it has come to my attention that perhaps talking about AI use cases are starting to look a bit dated, and rather should analytics leaders at the mature end of the spectrum be pivoting to focus on AI capabilities instead? Amy, would you like to kick us off on this topic?
Sure. First, thank you so much, Catherine, for having this great group of ladies back together to talk again. So regarding AI, as we think about AI use cases, the parlance that you use, today I think more and more companies are not thinking about AI use cases. They're thinking about the business problems they're trying to solve and how AI can help. Because I think what we've seen now is that AI can be helpful, and machine learning and data science and analytics can be helpful in solving a wide variety of business problems, whether that's optimizing your marketing spend, optimizing your product experience or your user experience, streamlining your operations, reducing costs, improving efficiency, adding top-line revenue. There's a wide variety of use cases in any business, whether it's a tech business or not. There's a wide variety of use cases for which AI can be helpful. And so I think rather than AI having its sort of own bespoke set of use cases, businesses are now realizing that AI can actually be very effectively used across the entire business to add efficiency and effectiveness to almost every department. And we're starting to see more of this not only in traditional tech businesses, but also in some non-traditional, non-technology businesses as well.
Yeah, and I have something to add, Catherine. I agree fully with what Amy said. But in addition to that, we are maturing as a capability. So AI at this point is business-centric and integral to a business capability. So, for example, we don't talk about use cases in finance. We don't talk about business use cases in HR. We don't talk about use cases in marketing. Why should we be talking about use cases in AI? We are building an integral capability to every business, every company, whether it does it or not, and whether it realizes it or not, that's a different question. But every company, every organization is a data company and an AI first company. And therefore, it's upon us to make sure that we grow this capability from use cases to a business central and integral holistic function.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, Nirali, I see you nodding your head there. I'd love to bring you in on this conversation.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to agree with what Amy and Katia have said. We've moved on as organisations from AI projects or use cases and more into what I'd like to call AI capability. So organizations are looking for talent, for infrastructure, for technology that has AI capabilities. And, in my area, in Openreach as well, what we're looking as well is not looking for that golden nugget in the data through data mining and various machine learning techniques to find us the funding, but actually how can we use the vast majority of AI to help our business be more effective, be more operationally efficient, to service our customers better. And it's not just about AI capabilities within a data function, but it's also having those capabilities within all the departments of the organization as well, because it's no longer a centrally held area, it's a business-wide area that we need to look at.
Absolutely. So I'm really getting the sense that we don't want to keep it in a box anymore. We want to share the AI love, and by calling it a use case, we're kind of putting it in that box. Minna, do you have any thoughts on this area?
Yeah, I fully agree with ladies, and maybe just to add that I also see it as a maturity thing, like Catherine, you mentioned in your question that when companies start with AI, it's of course natural to pick one or a couple of use cases to try out and to learn. And when then moving forward, then it's important to move from those individual use cases, take those lessons learned, and then move towards more holistic vision and strategy, and build a longer term roadmap to build those capabilities and really spread the AI like Katia and Amy mentions, kind of embed that to the business processes and business units and spread that across the organization.
Okay, well let's move on to the second question that we had prepared for this. And do remember to get your comments in as well. I'd love to answer your questions. I should have my team eyeing up the comment section for me now, so any questions I should be able to receive. So AI challenges, there are certainly many of these. Now, once an organization has developed an AI team with the right skills, creating the right environments and infrastructures to enable AI capabilities, now, to enable AI capabilities, often become the top AI challenge. What are your experiences here? What infrastructure does an enterprise need to take advantage, of the most advanced AI capabilities out there? Katia, I'll come to you first, because I know this is a passion area of yours.
I'm sorry, Catherine, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned. My internet keeps dropping in and out, so I'm hoping we're still streaming all okay. So AI challenges, once an organization has developed an AI team with the right skills, creating the right environments and infrastructure to enable AI capabilities, often this becomes the top challenge, those AI capabilities. What are your experiences here, and what infrastructure does an enterprise need in place to take advantage of the most advanced AI capabilities out there?
Right. Thank you so much for repeating the question. I know I'm having my challenges with busy Wi-Fi this morning as well. So let me clarify first that setting up the infrastructure for this is never done. One of the exciting aspects of being in this field is that you're always learning. In the last few minutes we've been talking, new developments have occurred, new tools have become available, new techniques have been tested and they're validated. So that's really wonderful. So you're never done. However, if you are going into an organization and starting from scratch, there's certain foundational pieces that have to be put together. And I call these the building blocks. I'm sure it's not my term. Anything that we build from scratch comprises building blocks. And those four building blocks are usually the people, the most important asset, together with the brand, the data of a company. People are the most important asset of a company or an organization. So we always start with people. If you have the right people, and it's not always about armies of people, but people who understand what's required, who have a passion for this, who have the perseverance to pursue something that is not fully known. In this conversation, we've already clarified some outstanding questions, and we'll continue to do so. But the people are really the most important ones to have the vision, the collaboration, and the business focus, to the point Amy made earlier, because this is all about solving business problems and seizing opportunities for a business. So people are the most important building block for this capability. And then, of course, we need certain processes. It's important to, especially in this area, to ensure that anything around data protects our customers, protects our employees, protects our companies, and that it gives consumers and customers the opportunity to share in building the capability with us, to give us full permission for us as a company to communicate with full transparency and ease of understanding in terms of how consumer data is used, for what purpose, why, and of course always give customers the opportunity to have a say in that, because at the end of the day, it's always their data. The point of harnessing is to ensure that we serve our customers and we delight them and we give them a predictive, proactive, and personalized experience to enhance that experience for them. The third building block is, of course, the data. And there's no shortage of data in every company. Every company is a data-rich company. It may not know where the data are. It may not have integrated the data. It may not be able to fully understand what the elements of that mean. It may not have the right processes, as I mentioned, but the data are there. So there's a lot of work that can and should be done to organize it. However, I also want to clarify that you never get perfect data. You will never get pristine data, because it's constantly streaming, because we live now in the time of data tsunami, not data lakes, but data oceans and data tsunami. It's important to set expectations in a business, for a business, that there is no such thing as pristine data. Yes, we want to make sure that we have agreement on certain key metrics that provide the highest value or could represent the highest risk for a company, but the rest, the vast majority of the data in a company is not clean, and it's important to know that, so that we don't wait for perfection, but we start on solving the business problem at hand with what we have at hand. And of course, there's the technology, which is the fourth building block. That's the infrastructure, whether it's cloud, whether it's on-premise. Of course, cloud does offer certain advantages in terms of speed and innovation, and it's up to a company to decide what is right for it. But it's the combination of those factors, always starting with the people and making sure that we have the utmost consistency and control for a company's consumer protection, for privacy and security, and always knowing that this is a field that is constantly advancing and developing, and we advance and develop with it. Does that answer your question, Catherine?
I think it does. And you know what I love, Katia? Whenever I speak to you, whenever we do these sorts of formats, I feel like some audience members will take such a deep breath of relief when they hear you speak. The fact that there is no such thing as perfect data, the fact that it's constantly evolving, I feel like it makes it far more real for a lot of people, and that actually this is a journey that we're on, and it's not about a destination to perfect, and that journey is very, very exciting. Now, Amy, I saw you nodding away there at points. What are your thoughts on the challenges of AI, and what infrastructure does an enterprise need in place to take advantage of the most advanced AI capabilities out there?
Yeah, so I certainly agree with a lot of what Katia said. First and foremost, that you're never really done, right? This is always a journey and it's always evolving. But I really think there's kind of three key areas that are a necessary foundation before you can really get the most out of machine learning or AI. The first is one Katia mentioned, which is a solid foundation around privacy, security, compliance, with a really customer-centric view around that. And I think Katia covered that really well. So I'll move on to number 2 and 3. Number 2 is really a technology foundation. And this is critically important. And this is an area that I think sometimes some companies underinvest in. They think, well, we'll hire these brilliant data scientists and AI and machine learning experts, but they're not necessarily laying the right foundation for them on the technical side. In order to be able, for example, to build real-time data science models, you need an infrastructure that allows real-time streaming data. And so there's this intermarriage between the types of models you can build in machine learning and AI and the infrastructure that you have. And it's not as simple as just migrating to the cloud, and then you're done. It's really about setting up an architecture and an infrastructure environment that enables machine learning models to be utilized to their fullest potential and to be deployed in a way that matches your business model. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to solve business problems here. And the third area that I think is also really critically important is that it's absolutely critical to be monitoring your AI, your machine learning models to see how they're evolving over time and whether adjustments are needed. We've seen in 2020, obviously COVID was very disruptive for a lot of people's businesses and required a lot of models, whether it's revenue forecasting or demand forecasting or user experience design. A lot of businesses had to make tweaks in COVID, but it need not be a disruption as dramatic as COVID to necessitate changes to machine learning and AI models as your customer evolves, as the marketplace evolves, as your product evolves. Very seemingly minor UX changes, for example, can necessitate redoing, updating, or improving certain aspects of machine learning and AI models that might guide user experience, for example. So I think it's really important to sort of look at the adjacencies around machine learning and AI and not merely focus on just hiring the right humans without packing around them the infrastructure and support needed for success.
Absolutely. Minna, I see you nodding away there. I'll love to bring you in on this.
Yeah, ladies have definitely covered all the aspects, but maybe what I want to still highlight is the importance of really solving the right business problems and making sure that the actual AI comes into use and live and managing the life cycle also from the perspective that it's continuously bringing value to the business, and many times the AI solutions are something that are not necessarily automating the process but are recommendations for actual people to then make better decisions or faster, better informed decisions, and that's why it's also important to make sure that they are used for the full potential and they are not just technical components running in a scalable environment, but that they are really making a difference to the business and adding value.
Super. Now, Nirali, if you feel like we've covered enough ground on that one, I'll come to you for my next question, if that's all right.
Yeah, so the only thing I did want to add is actually one of the challenges that I have found in the AI arena is the ability of the business as well as the AI specialists to let go as well. So if it's not working and it's not proving, we just learning that actually, you don't have to be wedded to that idea. You can move on and stuff. It's just I think we've become so AI focused that sometimes we don't take a step back and go, actually, this may not be going down the right path. So it's just like the other side of what Minna was saying.
Yeah.
Fantastic, brilliant. Now, it's been mentioned a fair bit already, but responsible AI and AI ethics are set to be major talking points for analytics leaders in 2021, just as they have been the previous year. But how can AI-focused executives ensure that their organization's AI capabilities are developed ethically and governed responsibly? And also kind of adding in on that point, as Amy and as you all have added, is consistently checking it as well. It's not just done when it's it's not just baked and ready to use. It's a case of going back and checking on it. So how do you ensure that your organization's AI capabilities are developed ethically and governed is the question. Nirali, I will come to you first for that one.
Hi. So as long as we remember that ethics are a set of values and principles, and if you align them to your business values and principles, that often helps the wider business as well as your own teams to make sure that they work to an acceptable standard, and think customer first. So it's a phrase I often use. If that was your information or if that was your data, would you like somebody doing that to you? And it's a story that I often say. I go, put yourself in the person's shoes whose data you're using, and then just sense check it with yourself. But quite simply, my approach has always been to align it with our business values and principles to enable us to do that. We also have a little governance committee that does sort of spot, I hate the word audit, but has the spot checks to make sure that actually we're still using it within the reasons and the purpose that we intended to use it for. So that's my short and simple answer.
We love that. Short and simple works. Minna, how about yourself?
Yeah, I definitely think that ethics is a key for trust as well, and transparency equally. So we have actually written our AI ethics principles, and we have also worked with a Finnish startup, Sidot, who is doing a groundbreaking work on providing platform that enables the transparency of AI products, and they also working on best practices on the area. And so overall, I think it is really critical to have your ethical principles in place, and the process to validate that you are really living up to those and implementing those. And from our perspective, the transparency is equally important, so that we need to be able to explain in an understandable way how all our AI products actually work, and be able to explain it in a way that we don't want to leave anything out. We are really we can really stand behind what has been developed, and what is the logic.
Absolutely. I think what you've done really interesting there, Minna, is you've unpacked that wider topic of AI ethics, and actually there's many elements to that, and having it explainable is definitely one of those elements. And I think AI can be quite a scary topic to people, and I think as soon as you say ethics next to it, people do get a bit reserved. But Katia, I'm going to come to you next, because I believe it was you who has always said to me, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And essentially leading with that idea, AI ethics becomes a little simpler. Oh, Katia, I believe you're on mute.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. There was a lot of extraneous noise, so I didn't want to intervene. Yes, ethics is a big term, and in general, in life, in society, certainly when it comes to AI too. And it's so much more than what's required by regulation. That's what makes it more challenging. On the other hand, it is also, again, more exciting, because it is part of a fast developing field that is not clear itself. So when it comes to ethics, my philosophy is it has to feel right. It has to feel right to more than just one person. And again, it starts with the people. And the processes are very important. So it's a combination of the people, but it goes all the way to the beginning of what kind of people do we hire in creating an AI capability. Yes, they need to be technically sophisticated. Yes, they need to be focused on the business. Yes, they do need to be good communicators, because that will help them make an impact on the business, and it will help explain, to the extent that it's possible, certain algorithms. But at the end of the day, we also want people with high integrity, because this is very much like medicine. It can be very powerful, and at the very least, we want to do no harm. So it starts with the right people, with the right set of values, with high integrity. And that's why I've implemented in my companies where I've created this capability, a code of conduct for anyone working with and touching data, very much like a Hippocratic oath. In medicine, this is now going to become a standard in the field of data analytics and AI. And again, it starts with the people. We do need the processes and, of course, the infrastructure, but without the people and the right values, we cannot presume to have faith in this for the long run. I hope this helps.
Speaking on mute. I knew I was going to do it. First time of 2021, I'll let myself on. As always, Katia, thank you. And thank you to all of our speakers for always being so transparent and honest with your answers. Now, Amy, I'm going to come to you with this question, but I'm going to ask the final question, because I'm always keen to make sure I've ticked off all of the questions that we go to, which is surrounding MLOps and ModelOps as well. And the question I wanted to ask you is, what role should they both play in the AI lifecycle? So if you can wind that into an ethics-related answer, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's really interesting that there's been so much discussion about AI ethics, because really AI ethics is just ethics, and that should be an extension of how the business is thinking about ethics more generally. It should be a natural extension of how the business thinks about their customers, their employees, and their brand. And so, really, I think one of the things that could help the discussion around AI and ethics is to start to bring closer together the policymakers and internal sort of legal and compliance folks, to bring them closer together with the technologists who are often charged with implementing some of these sort of regulations and architectures and policies, because that could ensure that by design, any new technology or data product is baking in ethics, privacy, security, compliance at its very core, rather than something that needs to be post hoc implemented. So I'm excited to hopefully see more of the technologists talking to the policymakers going forward. And now, Catherine, to your question about MLOps, I think this is a great natural extension of some of the discussion we had earlier about some of the infrastructure and adjacencies that are needed for success in machine learning and AI. Because much like having a flexible cloud architecture, or much like having some resources set aside to test models to ensure that they are still as robust as when they were initially designed, ML operations is the same thing. It's really about packing around the AI capabilities and the machine learning capabilities what's necessary for the longevity of the technology in the organization.
Fantastic. Now, just like that, we have used up our 30-minute slot. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I know the audience would have gotten a lot out of this. Now, if you are indeed catching us right at the end of this live stream, do not worry. We'll be hosting this video along with a short write-up on the Business of Data platform. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, what a wonderful group of executives. I know I am. The fact that they join me every month to discuss some really exciting topics, I'm very, very grateful for. But I'm going to give you the chance to let me know what you'd like to hear them discuss. So if you have any topic ideas or questions you'd like to pose to this fantastic group of executives, then do email us at the bod@craniumgroup.com. We're always keen to make sure we are operating under what the audience wants and demands. And I know these group of executive ladies will be more than happy to answer them, as they're always very honest and transparent. So that is everything from us. Again, ladies, thank you so very much.
Thank you,